everyone, and welcome to today's art stream in a brand new Swish location, sort of, not really. But yes, I'm back. I'm so sorry for the rather long wait. Turns out moving house is a lot more stressful than they tell you it is. Thank you so much everyone for all of the subs, getting back into it. That's immensely kind of you all, so thank you so very much for that. And yeah, you might recognize this character. This is the cleric we were working on last stream before I went dark, because I've only really just kind of constructed my computer all back together, which means they're kind of carrying on where we left off. But yeah, it's very exciting to be somewhere new. Oh, Lady Lyris, thank you so much. Very, very kind. And no problem at all, Gregzil. It's very pleased we got that working, so you'll have to thank Stu if Stu pops up in chat. But yes, as you can see, everything's very new. The lighting's a bit weird because at the moment I've only got my ring light, a rather weak ceiling light, and these big window directly to my right hand side. And I don't have any curtains yet, so I can't really control that particularly. You might also notice on my right, your left, there is a big patch of the wall missing. Oops, may have been decorating this room over the last few days and discovered that there might be some form of water leak in that corner. So all the paint just peeled off the wall like wet cardboard when I was trying to prime for decorating. So that wasn't great, but hopefully we'll be getting that looked at. Oh my goodness, Les F, thank you so much, and Rebel, thank you so much for the sub gifts. That's so very kind. What a brilliant way to get us back into it and getting started again. So thank you so very much for that. And yes, the joys of home ownership. Thank you so much, Cyberspectre, for the sub as well. That's wonderful. Now I just need to remember how to paint, because I haven't done it that much. I painted walls, but I haven't painted characters. What am I saying? We've got this. Anyway, let's get back into it today. We're going to continue with this lovely Aasimar Cleric character. Next thing to do, we need to finish her hair down here, and we're going to work on her arms as well. And yeah, we're just going to carry on where we left off and start working through this lovely character. So you can already see earlier where we added this extra layer to bring some dynamic kind of colour to the hair. What we can do next is we will just continue shading the hair down here. I can't remember how dark it gets, so bear with me as I just kind of... Oh no, that's alright. Also, please do let me know if the stream drops or the internet seems fluffy at any point. I'm still kind of making sure our internet's all looking good. Oh, I totally painted the walls with the Animal Crossing nose blending technique, 100%. I've never really painted walls before, so it was quite exciting to learn, kind of do that for the first time. Makes it kind of feel like it's actually like your place when you can really customize the walls like that. I wish I could show you the wall that's directly behind my computer screens at the moment, because that wall's looking beautiful. This part of the room in front of me is the bit that I finished. So what you can all see, unfortunately, is the bit that I have not done yet. Which is also the bit that seems to have a leak that I need to address. So that'll be fun. You know, the joys of home ownership, like you said. But that's awesome to hear about the internet. Yeah, I think we did try and get a provider that would give us a good upload speed, because obviously I knew I'd want it to be decent for streaming. And yeah, that's awesome. That's good to know. Yeah, this bit of hair down here, I'm just going to give like a little bit of attention. I'm not going to go overboard. We don't want it to distract from the rest of the piece. Just enough so that it kind of has its own shape and stuff going on. It's going to add a tiny bit more shadow down here as well. And that we can bring down into the hair that's kind of under the arm. Oh, Les F, thank you so very much for the bits. That's amazingly kind. Thank you so very much. Oh wow, we're up to a level 2 hype train. I've never really worked out how hype trains work before, so this is very exciting. Thank you so much. It's great, yeah. The other thing they don't tell you about moving... Well, they do tell you that moving house is incredibly expensive, but there's always more expenses that kind of like pop out of the woodwork after you've moved. Like, I completely forgot to factor into the fact that obviously when we moved, I wouldn't have the router right next to my computer, so we had to get home plugs, which I didn't realize they were quite so expensive as they were. But there's like so many things that you just don't really factor in. There's our line art layer that I now very much know about. Yeah, just take my money. I just want it done. I just want a nice looking house. I mean, this house is lovely. We were very, very lucky with it. Like, it's very, very hard to get affordable housing in the UK. We were actually using like the shared ownership scheme that we've got here. And even then, it was kind of luck that allowed us to get this house. Oh, thank you so much, Grigzilla. Yeah, I love rendering hair. But yeah, it's a nice house. It's like, I think it's like 5 years old. The previous occupants kind of looked after it, but like, it's still lots of decorating you gotta do. Like, the room that I've adopted for streaming and crafting and stuff was like a kid's bedroom before I stole it. Which means that obviously the walls have put up with some battering over the years. So I've been full DIY this week. Alright, so next up I'm going to just shade the arms. Get them nicely rendered, and then we can start looking at her coat. Ooh, just giving you all motion sickness from the amount I'm zooming in and out. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's really, really nice. Like, it's a really nice part of Bristol, because we're quite close to like shops and stuff. Oh, CB Jess, thank you so much. That's very, very kind. Which means, yeah, it's really good for immunity and stuff. Obviously, it would be a lot better if that we weren't still on lockdown here, but obviously, like, it's the best thing to do, having lockdown to try and keep everyone safe. But it is kind of weird moving into a new place during lockdown. Because usually I'd go to like IKEA and we'd browse like furniture and stuff and do all the fun planning, but we can't do that, so we've basically mail ordered almost everything. Which has been its own kind of fun, like waiting for kitchen tables to arrive and stuff like that. But yeah, everything was actually perfect until I discovered the water damage and the possible roof leakage. We'll see. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's very exciting. I'm super hyped to get this room done as soon as we sort out the damage, because I just got so many ideas. The area you see directly behind me, I'm planning to get a second desk, the same as my first one. But that's gonna have my sewing machine and my leather working stuff and all of that kind of more messy, crafty stuff is gonna be on its own little area. And it means that later on in the year, when I've kind of got that all set up, I'll be able to move my camera over and hopefully do some streams, or at least make some video content of actually doing like introduction to leather work, that kind of stuff. Because it's such a fun hobby and I've wanted to do that for ages. And now I finally have the space to do it. I figured, you know, screw it. Let's make some cool stuff together. And I also have way more room in here for making costumes, which means I can finally do all the cosplay stuff I want to do. The light's pretty decent, so it's good for taking photographs and all that kind of jazz. Yeah, it's gonna be lots of fun. And thank you so much, Hof Kucher, for following. I'm not following, subscribing. What am I talking about? Thank you so much for the subscription. But yeah, I definitely missed streaming with y'all. It's just nice to hang out, you know, and chat while I work. Because that's the other thing, like, once you've moved house, you're always like, oh, it's fine, I'll get my desk set up, my office back together in like a couple of days. It'll only be like 2 days before I'm back at work. It was not 2 days before I was back at work. It took me about a week to get to a point that I could permanently get my computer and stuff set up. So if you're moving house and you need to do any small amount of decorating, do factor that into account. Don't be me. Don't be like me. It's alright. Thankfully, I'd saved up quite a bit in preparation for the whole move thing, so yeah, it never quite goes how you expect. Hey, Ryan Films! Welcome, wonderful to see you here. I hope the world is treating you nicely. It's been ages. Ryan Films is a very cool person. Alright, cool. I quite like, you know, very gentle highlighting going on here to get that nice, soft, diffuse kind of skin texture. No you, Ryan. No you. I'd say actually the most fun thing about moving house was the first 2 nights when it's like, well, I haven't unpacked any of my cooking stuff. I can't make, I can't home cook meals. Guess we have no choice but to do takeaways and explore all of our new local takeaway options. And I know it's a silly little thing, but I find that really exciting. It's like, ooh, where can we get takeaways now? We've got so many new options. Oh, Lizette, thank you so much for the bits. It's very, very kind. I don't know why I kind of do weird things with the pen when I'm excited, but thank you. It helps so much. What's good nearby? Well, we do have a Pizza Hut nearby now, which usually I wouldn't care too much about, but they're doing this pizza, and I'm sure that if anyone here else apart from me watches Mabim Bam, they've probably covered this. They're doing a KFC Pizza Hut crossover at the moment where you can get a pizza that has popcorn chicken and gravy on top, and it's just the wildest thing. It tastes amazing. It shouldn't taste as good as it does, but it's just so good. I can't resist it. Angelus Lucis, thank you so much for the sub. New place is treating me very well. Yeah, it was literally perfect until a couple of hours ago. When I found some water damage and a potential water leak. But we'll sort it out. Not the end of the world. And yeah, Ryan, so I work here. I am freelance, self-employed. I spend all day painting cool stuff. Now, that's me, that's my life, and it's pretty great. So yeah, that's kind of one of the other reasons I really wanted to get a nicely comfortable and decorated office space, because this is where I spend pretty much 80% of my waking hours. So it's very important to make sure office space is comfortable and homely. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I've got some pretty rad clients at the moment that I can't actually talk about yet, but I will, as soon as I'm able to, I will shout it from the rooftops because I'm so excited for some of these projects. Very cool. Oh yeah, speaking of which, I pre-ordered the Candlekeep Mysteries last night. It looks like it's going to be super cool. I'm really looking forward to that book. A centipede? Okay, well that's different to my day. I can at least attest to not having found centipedes in my house. Oh, how? We've received a level 4 hype train emote. I'm slowly learning what all these things mean, but awesome. Hey, Quietly Freya, welcome. And Aimless Wanderings, yeah, I mean, I don't really know, when it comes to pizza, I've only been exposed to UK pizza. And I imagine it's a bastardization of proper pizza, but this KFC Pizza Hut mashup I want one right now. Literally, I think we might do takeout tomorrow night because it was so good. And moving house is really tiring. Yeah, blah 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 blah. What's to talk about? Yeah, Candlekeep. I ordered that one because obviously I know Ravenloft isn't coming out quite so soon. I probably will pre-order that closer to the time, to be honest. But for now, I'm gonna get Candlekeep. I just don't see myself running a game in Ravenloft. Ravenloft? What the hell's that? In Ravenloft anytime soon. Also, a lot of my friends contributed to Candlekeep, including Mark Hume. So I desperately want to like run some of those and support my buddies who worked on that book. And yeah, I mean, Ryan, absolutely. Feel free to. From when I briefly interacted with some of the Yogs peeps, they've always been very, very wonderful, very, very kind and nice to me. Alright, let's get these arms shaded, then we can move on to clothing, because clothing's fun to render, and I don't think I've rendered it on stream for a little while, so it's cool to see. I like kind of showing how I do clothing folds and stuff. I find quite one of the more interesting things to paint. One of the harder things to learn to paint. Golly, it took me forever. Oh, Sylvanix, thank you very much. That's very, very kind. Puppy Friday sounds amazing. I miss puppies so much. One of the things we're hoping to do with this new place is in like a year, maybe, about like, 10 months or more, we definitely want to get a dog here. We've got enough room. We've got a little garden. I'm gonna get a small pupper because my partner starts work again full time soon, so it's gonna be so weird. I'm not used to being on my own in the house. It's gonna be creepy and quiet. I'm a very social person. Is that not properly opaque down there? That might be our problem. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I quite like the idea of just a book of like mysteries because I love that genre so much. I know I will. Even if I don't play it, I'll enjoy reading it. Rendering hands is also a but the more you do it, the better you get at it. Let's take that nice dark tone. I really like this character. This character's skin tone is very nice and rich. It really kind of complements the rest of the colours I've been given to work with. Yes, Quietly Freya. I am basically, you are next on my list actually. As soon as I finish this, probably when I actually finish this character here that I'm working on today, yours is the next full body that I'm going to contact. So keep an eye out in your Patreon inbox or wherever else. If we were talking on email, I can't remember. I will go back and check in my records. But yes, you will be receiving some. We'll chat about that very soon. See, I quite like books like Candlekeep, which have almost like anthology-style collections of lots of different little campaigns, because even with the big games, so I'm currently running Rime of the Frost Maiden for my friends, and I love taking little mini campaigns and slotting them into my larger games, if that makes sense. Especially if it's like a bit of a murder mystery. I've accidentally like gone majorly off script in Frost Maiden already. I've gone and added this whole extra plot line to do with the myriad corrupting local officials and half the town speakers being in the pocket of the crime lords, because my game is set in Wildmount. I'm using that setting with Icewind Dale being like a little section just north of the growing wildlands, and it's worked really well. It's been really good fun, and it means I've brought in a lot of kind of factions from Wildmount into the setting. It has meant adding quite a lot, but that in itself has been fun, and my players are really into Wildmount settings, so it makes them happy. So that makes me happy. Alright, we're getting there with this arm. Arms are hard, weird flesh tubes. Getting back into the rhythm of things. But yeah, eventually my plan is to get 2 LEDs to make the lighting a lot more kind of balanced in here. And I'm probably going to do that streamer thing where I plaster LEDs all over like backs of my screens and my desk because I can't resist. I also want to have my cute, my cute D20 lamp is over there. You can't even see it. I want to have it like on the other side, so all my cute D&D stuff. Right, let's add a bit more. Yes, the gamer lighting. I can't resist. I love bright colours and LEDs already, so... I want to get LED controlled lights in our lounge as well, so that when eventually I can run in-person D&D games with my friends again, I can like make the lights go red for the boss fight, all that kind of fun stuff. All the stuff we love and crave. I think I'm actually going to give her some slightly darker fingernails, I think. Just because contrast is key. Just fairly subtle, just because without fingernails it looks a bit weird. Of course she's got these stonking great angel wings as well, so they're going to be fun when we get back to them. Okay, I'm actually going to do the feet last when I kind of get down there, because, like most human beings, I hate painting feet, and I'll have to get reference up for doing those, I think. But yeah, I have so many ideas for the ways I want to decorate this room. That's why I'm annoyed about the whole kind of damp and problem we need to get fixed in the wall, because it puts a stall in all my plans. I was going to paint that wall this weekend, and now I've got to get it fixed. Okay, what am I going to work on next? I think we'll do her, she's wearing like a delicate kind of dusty pink blouse underneath her coat. So I think that's probably what I will render next. Oh, thank you so much, Quite for yeah, if I do end up streaming the kind of drawing of your character, I will absolutely let you know and make sure that you can access the VODs, because yeah, it's kind of nice to see your own character being worked on. I must admit, I imagine the Ravenloft book coming out will make me want to either play or run a Ravenloft game so much. Because I get super hyped when something new comes out. It's like when Rime of the Frost Maiden came out, I was like, I have to run this. And now I am. And I'd say we're doing decently. We're still on the first kind of chapter. My party are about level 3 at the moment, so they're babies. But they're getting there. Also, I make my campaigns like much longer than they need to be by, as well as like the overall quest goals. All of my player characters have their own miniature kind of story mysteries to resolve, especially with the secrets that they added into Frostmaiden. I thought that was really fun. So they've each got their own little plots to follow. And they're a very collaborative group. I really love that they will support each other's stories rather than just kind of looking to follow their own, which I really like. Okay, let's add some shading to this blouse. As usual for shading fabrics, I take that kind of pale greyish pink, almost white. It's very, very pale, and then we make sure we have a multiply selected for the layer, and we just fill it in to start off our shadows. Do forgive me, by the way, if my voice is a bit croaky. It's because I've been breathing in paint fumes for the last 3 days. I don't think it's done the best things to my throat. But such as, you don't have many other options when you're home decorating and doing it all, yourselves rather than hiring people in because COVID. And also because it saves money, and I'm quite perfectionisty when it comes to stuff like decorating, and I knew that if I paid loads of money to have someone else do it, and then saw any imperfections, I'd get really frustrated because I'm bad. Alright, so now with a white brush, we're just kind of removing shadow from areas where it's not required, where our light is hitting. Oh, yeah, Ryan, totally. Just ping me a DM on Twitter or email. Unfortunately, Instagram is. I don't often use Instagram's messaging system, so if anyone's come here and follows my Instagram, I'm really sorry if you've messaged me on there and I haven't replied. I find the Instagram messenger system chaotic, and I get so many other messages, I just don't have time to go through all my Instagram ones. So if you do want to talk to me and feel bad that I'm ignoring your Instagram, I promise you I'm not. It's just too much to deal with all my Instagram messages. Half of them are kind of spam anyway. Oh, that's better. My lot haven't done Cavan's Khan yet. They've done the mine with the kobolds. They have encountered the giant ice dragon. That was hilarious. They were level 2 at the time. Thankfully, they didn't try and engage it too much. There we go, just blending that in a bit. What else have they done? Oh, they've done the foaming mugs. They've done the one with the dwarfs and the stolen iron ingots. I kind of changed that one a bit. They kind of came up with a cute idea for a peaceful resolution with the goblins, so I didn't make them fight the goblins because I prefer a narrative of this place is hard for everyone. So, the goblins aren't evil for opportunistically grabbing this resource they find out in the wild. And so they actually had a really cute, conflict-free resolution to that one. They're all in all a very wholesome bunch, a really cute party. So I want to encourage, non-murder hobo behavior when I can. Yeah, I just love the Frostmaiden is probably my favorite campaign book. Certainly as a GM, anyway. Like, I really like Ravenloft, but Curse of Strahd, but I don't know. I don't think my group were the right people, like, were the right party for it. They were quite a well, some of the players were very inexperienced. Some of them were playing it from a very non-serious, jokey angle, and some of them were playing it very seriously with very kind of serious characters, and it didn't really flow. The other problem was half the group was scattered across quite large distances, so it took forever to try and actually get together to even run a game. So I'm sure most people can relate to that. Not that that's a problem anymore, because no one can go anywhere. Okay, I'm actually worried this shade of pink isn't quite right, so I'm just gonna get rid of that there. And I might just play, whoops, with the colour a wee bit. Yeah, that is the problem. Scheduling is always the most difficult part. Alright, we're actually not going to alter it too much, because it's already basically how I want it. I just need to get the highlights working the way I want them. Yeah, it's looking a bit better. Cool. What do I want to do next? I think I might just tidy up the neckline around the skin a tiny bit. As you can see, oops, that brush is way too big. As you can see, it's just going over the shirt a little more than I want it to. So I'm just going to tidy that up, like so. I'm going to... Ah, what do you know? That's already removed. Cool. In which case, I'm going to go in with the pink highlight, add a bit of that to the neckline itself. There. And then just a bright highlight. Just in there, just to give the fabric a little bit of pop. Every time I think of that, I just think of the Cell Block Tango from Chicago. Just doing a little bit of blending so it's not too... I don't want this to look too satiny. Just a little kind of bit of highlight, that's all I want. He had it coming. Exactly. I haven't actually played Descent into Avernus. It looked really fun, and I thought I had the book. I think I've lent it to one of my friends, and I have no idea where it's gone. Because it should have appeared when I unpacked everything, but it wasn't, so I have no idea where that's gone. So I think one of my friends has it and hasn't owned up to it. I did, however, find a stack of arcane spell cards, and I've never had spell cards, so I've no idea where those came from. Crazy the things you find when you move house. Oh, thank you so much, J. Derek, for the subscription. That's very, very kind. Thank you. Wow, we're doing amazingly today on subscriptions, everyone. Thank you so much. I couldn't really have asked for a better first stream back into it. You've all been wonderful. There we go. Just a little bit more definition around the neckline there. Yeah, I need to get out my copy of Descent to Avernus because I wanna play it. I don't know about running because I'm already running a game and I miss playing in a campaign at this point, but it sounds really cool. Okay, I think it's time we tackle her coat. I'm going to just start with the top layer of the outer coat. I'm just going to name this layer so I don't kind of forget what I'm doing. This is the blouse. So let's start the coat. In terms of picking the right colour, her coat is navy blue, but you know, that can go between two extremes, right? You can have a greenish navy blue, or you can go more purpley. I think for the purpose of this character, I'm going to edge us towards purple ever so slightly, because we have quite a nice colour palette where I think that would work. I might end up tweaking it, we shall see. But for now, yeah, I feel like I like this kind of blue. And don't forget to save, very important, thank you so much, Rebel, for reminding me. What would I do without all of you? probably lose all my work. Right, to start with, we're just going to go around the edges. Like so. I've been finding this makes filling in a bit quicker. So that's what we're going to do. Well, we're getting a little bit of lag today. That's just the way it is. I'll have that extra RAM soon. One day. When my wall stops leaking and I fix that, I'll spend money on RAM. I've spent all weekend looking at nice shades of blue because the wall in front of me that you can't see, I spent the last 2 days decorating, is it's like my favorite color. It's a very deep jungly teal, which is probably my favorite color ever. And the great thing about moving into your own place is you can paint your room all the colors your parents wouldn't let you when you were a kid. It's so liberating. I've always wanted a teal wall. And I'm gonna get like a nice pegboard to put like my headphones and stuff on. Generally try and be a bit more organized than I was before. You know, start as you need to go on and all that. How do I feel in the base colors without going to other areas? So, what I'm doing here, you kind of see, even though I'm kind of moving the pen over other areas, the reason it's not bleeding into them is because this layer is underneath everything. Whenever I make a new layer, it's always underneath the last few layers. And that means that if you've been good at kind of keeping within your lines so far, it makes your job later a lot easier. Right, so we're going to fill those in and just paint over these corners. These nasty bits that haven't filled properly. There's probably a quicker way to do that or a way to set it up so it fills properly the first time, but I'm not a technical genius and I don't know how it works. I came from traditional art background, so I paint like a traditional artist most of the time. Doom is great combat music. I don't know, I go through different phases. When I was running Curse of Strahd, I actually ended up making a playlist from the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild soundtrack because it has some fantastic music for creepy ruins, boss fights. I was also kind of in love with the game as well, so my favorite thing to do is when just before you say roll for initiative, you put on the music that plays when you wake up one of the mechs in Breath of the Wild, and then you get the really jarring piano music that goes and as soon as that starts playing and you say roll for initiative, all players just lose their shit. It's so good. Oh, I should do that again. It's so good. At the moment, I'm running my games using Roll20, and I haven't got around to kind of inputting my own music yet. I know you can do it, but I'm doing a million things at once at any given time, and the things I want to do, I often forget about completely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I wasn't super original with the Zelda thing. Like, I think I might have seen a Twitter post ages ago where someone had suggested it and thought, oh, that's so cool. Because before the music starts with the automaton, like the Guardians, before they come to life, there's like this creepy kind of tremolo on the piano, and it's like, oh shit, something's about to happen, and then it goes into the chord, and it's like intense. It's great. But yeah, obviously if you're streaming your game, same with the Doom music, unless you've kind of checked, probably shouldn't. Funnily enough, some music that I've intended to use is some music from Destiny soundtrack, because they allow you to use the Destiny soundtrack music, barring a couple of tracks, on streams and stuff, which is super cool. Just gonna trim down where we've gone over the lines with the blouse a little bit. And over here. There we go. Alright, so that's our first part of the coat. I think I might just fill in this little triangle, this little pizza slice down here. Also, my apologies if there is any background noise. Like I say, when I get proper nice thick curtains and stuff, it'll dampen the sound coming in from the outside. We are a bit closer to the road than I used to be, so there might be road sounds, the occasional siren, but I don't know, this is kind of, you know, the first stream in the new place, so we're kind of getting used to all of the new little things that come with moving house, you know? The very best thing that I cannot be grateful for enough is the fact that finally, after a long time, we have central heating. So I'm not here bundled up in like 3 layers of knitted jumpers with my feet turning to icicles under my desk. It's delightfully warm. Thanks so much for stopping by, Gregzilla. I will probably see you around the Discord. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for the tunic, and we're going to start rendering it. We're going to start shading. So once again, making that layer on top, setting it to multiply, and going to select that kind of pale greyish pink that we're all so familiar with at this point. Orange Juice God, thank you as well so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Alright, so we've got that nice delicate bit of shadow dropped on. Let's start erasing that away and revealing the light. So, switching to a white brush, because this makes selecting our shadows a little easier later. We are just going to start with like the triangle shape that often forms around what the cleavage is. And we're not going to be super neat about it right now. Like I say, this is more about establishing forms. It doesn't need to be perfect at this stage. In fact, I would actively discourage you from aiming for perfection when you start out trying to put your shadows down, because all you will get is pain and frustration. Keeping it real. Alright. Light's going to come around the tube of that sleeve. Have I sent you donation goal yet? I haven't, no. I must admit, I always feel a bit weird about donation goals because, I don't know, I shouldn't really. There's just so much stuff going on in the world right now that it feels a bit weird kind of setting donation goals for things like that. It's very hard to explain, you know? So I kind of just, I leave it up to people if they want to donate towards stuff like that, which honestly, it helps enormously, and I'm incredibly grateful every time someone makes a donation. It just feels weird going on about it, you know? With everything so, you know, the way it is. But maybe I will. I might at least do it on Ko-fi so that, you know, if people are going to my Ko-fi, they already kind of have that intention. It's weird. I always feel very, like, insecure when it comes to asking for money or doing drives like that, because it's, you know, it's just sort of an odd thing. Sometimes it's hard to see the difference between 2 colours. But yeah, I probably will send you one on Ko-fi, because RAM will definitely speed up my computer and hopefully make it so that I can stream games that are more demanding than Stardew Valley, because at the moment that's about the only game I can stream, because my computer can't quite handle streaming things like Ark or even Planet Zoo, as we discovered last couple of weeks ago. Alright, now we're not going to have too many creases on the coat, because like I say, it's a thicker material, so it won't crease up quite the way like the shirt material will. Having worked with thicker fabrics for making costumes, it's both a blessing and a curse. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the light colour and start establishing some lights on the lower part near the waist. Oh, Punishing Glance, thank you so very much. That's very, very kind. But yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to donate, that's what donations are going towards at the moment, going towards RAM and kind of setting up my new kind of space for streaming and crafting. I will make a Ko-fi goal at some point soon, so I can track stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment, and every little bit just does help immensely. I know it sounds very cliche, but these things are always appreciated. But never necessary. I don't want anyone to ever feel bad because they want to and they can't. Oh, Phoenix Wacky, thank you so much. I love painting Aasimar so much. Aasimar are one of my favorite lineages, for sure. I loved all the plain touch ones. Alright, so that shading's coming on quite nicely. I am going to grab a slightly richer and darker shadow now, just to bring in some darks. You can kind of see it cupping around the side of the body there. And like so. Sound of offended tieflings. That's why I said one of, not the one, you know? I would never risk offending my tiefling characters because I'm more afraid of them than I am of my Aasimars. No, I'm not. I absolutely adore my tieflings. I just get so much joy out of playing Reza right now. Reza is my baby. She's like my D&D persona, basically. I never thought I would enjoy the barbarian class quite so much, but I'm absolutely loving it. Like, I thought I would feel a bit too restricted, I wouldn't have enough to do, but you know, I don't care that my turn is mostly, I hit it with my tail, because you know what, sometimes that's all you want. Sometimes all you want to do is hit a giant squishy ooze monster with a spiked tail. Have been able to get any play sessions in? Sadly not. Since my last game. I am very excited to play again because I want to continue the adventure of my character being, of Reza being slightly in love with the group's paladin and being incredibly tsundere about it. But yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Border Lafalas. I love drawing her. She's a bit of a muse. And it's honestly, it's really fun to play a character who's not only brightly coloured, but I always thought that my ideal character aesthetic was like cottagecore, little bit goth, but I'm really enjoying the more kind of neon, flashy vibe that Reza has. It's been a lot of fun. Sometimes characters surprise you. Oh yeah, so yeah, she is a beast barbarian, which is one of the new Tasha's Cauldron of Everything subclasses, and it is an absolute, it's a hoot to play with. It's so funny. Especially when I get to level 10 and I can basically just inflict people with rabies when I want to, which is nuts. Dear, it's hilarious. It's basically like you become like it's like heavy lycanthrope coded, but I've done it slightly different. My character Reza is very much inspired by Kipo, from Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts. If you're familiar with it, like a character who suddenly starts developing these beastie traits and powers and doesn't quite know why and is a bit embarrassed about it, but is also a total badass. That's kind of the angle I'm going for, and it's so much fun. Ooh, that sounds cool. I need to actually read the other class stuff in Cauldron of Everything because there's so much cool stuff in there. Okay, so that's our basic shading done for the coat. I'm going to add some highlights now. So going back to our original base color for the coat, we're going to grab a slightly lighter color. I'm going to try and keep it subtle for now. Just on the front where the light is going to be hitting. Like so. And on these little kind of cap sleeves. Give me ever such a slightly glossy look. And then just kind of blending it in. Yeah, that kind of happens to me in my campaign a bit. I always forget to play with feats with my characters, so when I'm DMing and other people use feats, I'm like, wait, you can do what? And then I get schooled. I'm always a sucker for I'm like, no, I just want to raise my stats. So I never end up getting feats. Alright, there we go. That's a nice kind of subtle sheen on that coat. Forbidden knowledge is the best knowledge, you know. Oh, Rebel, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm enjoying this colour palette a lot as well. It's been very fun. Okay, so my next step is... I think we're going to do the sleeves next. The sleeves are the same navy blue. So let's make a new layer. I'm just going to grab the same blue tone. Whoops, yeah, that's fine. And we're just going to slap that right on down. Also, I don't think that, no. I'm expecting a phone call at some point, so, and it's kind of semi-important house phone call. So if I do have to dash temporarily, that is why. Although it's already quite late, it's already like nearly 6 o'clock, so I highly doubt we'll get any of that today. Well, Riza picked up a cursed crown belonging to Levistus, and I'm sure it's fine. Nothing can go bad there. Especially not because she's a Levistus lineage tiefling. Or anything. Okay, that's one sleeve. Let's quickly fill in the other one. Also, I may have treated myself to some houseplants as like a sort of congratulations, you survived moving into a new house and the whole moving process. And now I just can't wait for them to arrive, and I'm gonna become a proper plant mom at this rate. Let's just hope my children don't die. Alright, I'm just gonna fill this one and then touch up the edges. What can Daddy Ice Cube do? Exactly. There's nothing to worry about there. It's fine. Oh no! Lady Lyris! That's the worst. See, we don't have cats, so I suppose at least I don't have that to worry about. But, well, eventually we're looking to get a puppy, so I've been making sure only to look at pet-safe plants. So at the moment I have a watermelon peperomia coming because they're so cute. They're like these little plants and the leaves look like watermelons. You have to look them up to understand it, but they're adorable. And they were really hard to get hold of, so when I found some in stock, I just ordered some because I have no self-control. And I wanted a cheer-up present because I discovered a hole in the wall. And sometimes you need a cheer-up present when you discover a hole in the wall. And then I also ordered a zebra, I think it's just called a zebra plant for our lounge because I just like plants. They make me happier in a space. Oh no, yeah, we have, my parents had like a weeping, oh, I can't remember exactly, I think weeping birch or something, I can't remember what it was, but one of our dogs just ate it down to, well, chewed it down to a stick, basically. And it was never the same after the day the Pup Nation attacked. Just kind of blending these creases a little bit. Yeah, getting that nice kind of glossy feel. Not too glossy, but still like I want the coat to feel like it's kind of nice, rich material. I'm just going to blend down here and then add a bit more shadow because we've got some areas which are going to incur some more shadows. So it got dark very quickly. The lighting just in here isn't very good. I'm thankfully I have like some simple LED ring, a single LED ring light, which is better than nothing. But yeah, hopefully I'd want to get some better lights and just make this a proper little good-looking space, you know? As soon as I fix the wall. Alright, yeah, I like how that sleeve's coming along. Tiny bit more blending down here, just these dark colours. We don't want them to be to kind of stark against the rest of the blue. So a little bit more around here. And last but not least, coming around, cast by the bottom of the sleeve. There! Cool. Okay, so that's one sleeve. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's do the shadows on the other sleeve, and then we can worry about highlights. You can kind of see what it looks like without those at the moment. So going back to kind of like a white, so we can just delete shadows, as it were, and going up to a slightly larger brush. Going along. Oh yeah, Sirenscape. I have I think I've looked into it in the past when I did some streamed shows when I was DMing. I haven't used it in ages. I imagine that since the last time I took a look at it, they've added a lot more. Because it has been a while. Let's just put a little bit of side light coming in under that. Whoops, not there. What am I doing? Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll do some blending. Around there. And then we'll bring in those big heavy shadows. I know, right? I love coats like this. I've wanted a proper velvet, a nice velvet jacket with big shoulders for ages, but it's one of the few things I don't really buy much. I don't buy many new clothes for myself. I should get more nice things. But all my money right now I'm saving for kind of house-related stuff, and also I want to. I'm like. I've mentioned it a few times, I'm currently working on a 14th century gown project, kind of costume / cosplay project, which is on hold at the moment until I can kind of sort out my workspace for sewing on the other side of this room. But when I do, I'll be back to sewing and I'll be able to make all the fun things again. Okay, you can add your music to Sirenscape, that's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out because I like adding my own stuff. Alright, cool, let's add some quick highlights and then we're ready to move on to the next bit. So, whoops, that's not the right colour. Go away. Leave this place. That's the right colour. I'm just going to make sure these are actually locked. And then we'll have a little bit of highlight around here. Like so. And yeah, then we have some nice sleeves. I'm pretty happy with those. I'm just gonna check. Yeah, eventually we're going to be adding some embroidery details to the sides of the sleeves. But not yet. I'm also thinking this blue is so rich. I kind of want to go in and make the blouse a bit richer as well. So I'm gonna crank up the saturation, make it darker. I think just because I want that contrast. Yeah, that's a bit better. I like that. And yeah, that's looking nice. Okay, so the next thing to do. Cool, I think what I might do next is her belt, which is a fabric belt with some cute embroidery on it. Yeah, let's do that. You can't see that much of it, but I'm gonna hop it in now anyway. So we're going to make a new layer. I'm gonna call it belt before I forget to name my layers, because I'm bad like that. Oh, hey Phoenix, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next time. I hope you sleep well. Gosh, that is late. Go to sleep. It's only 6 PM here. Alright, we're going to use a slightly lighter blue for this because I do want this blue to be visually different from the coat. Like so. Yeah, happy with that. And then we are going to, as before, add our shadows and highlights. But something this time might be a little bit different. So we've added our shadow there. We need to make sure it's actually set to be a shadow. Now we will take it away to add back our lights. Like so. There's some light going on there, and then of course we will have to add some deeper shadows. Everything is give and take. Like so. It gives us some shadows and highlights and some nice kind of shape going on. So I'm just going to blend between these ever so slightly. Just to get that shape looking a bit nicer. Yep, happy with that. Then I'm actually going to desaturate this a little bit because at the moment it was a bit too bright. And then we're going to add some silver embroidery. So I'm just kind of looking at the reference here. We're going to make a layer in between those two, but it's still set to normal. Zooming right in. And we're just going to pick a light grey for our base tone. Going right down to a 6 to start us off. I'm just going to start roughly painting in, and I'm actually going to make this lighter so I can see what I'm doing a bit better. Let's just start drawing in some embroidery. Let's have a look, shall we? We've got kind of like a very cute pattern going on between these horizontal lines. I'm actually going to go it down to a 4, so a really tiny brush at this point. And then we've got these sort of diamonds, hexagonal diamonds coming up. I'm just going to kind of approximate. This doesn't need to be crazy neat because it's going to be very small when we zoom out. But using the fabric folds to give kind of like a suggestion of places where it's going to be folded in on itself, because it's not just going to flow perfectly over where the fabric folds are. And then we've kind of got these inner hexagons inside the big ones. And again, keeping the brush marks quite faint and feathering them a little helps it look a bit more like embroidery and less like just painted lines. Okay, and we zoom out on that. You kind of see how that pattern's coming along. It's quite subtle, but that's fine. That's what we want. And then on the inside, we've almost got like a swirling flower kind of pattern. Like so, just kind of coming along and through. And then another flower over here. And there we go. There is some fairly subtle looking embroidery. What we're going to do now is when we lock it, and we are going to grab a lighter colour, making sure that we have the alpha channel locked. We can just brush the areas which are in more light, just lighten up that silver. And this is going to give us the effect of having kind of metallic embroidery. And as you might expect, we can kind of do the same, but with darker colours in places where the embroidery is darker. And that's kind of just how I do almost all metallic embroidered or kind of similar details, using that kind of technique to get that metallic look. For like the very brightest areas, you can just straight up use white. Sometimes it's worth kind of taking alpha channel lock off just to make those lines that are bright a little bit heavier. Lezette, thank you so much for stopping by. It was lovely to catch up again, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Okay, there you go. You can kind of see how that's looking down there. Kind of cute. So, what should I do next? Let's have a look at the some of these refs. I think the next thing I'm going to do is her belt, her kind of sword belt. So for this, what color am I thinking? I think a deep kind of rich reddish brown for this one, I think, actually. So I'm actually going to start grouping some of these together because we're getting a lot of layers hanging out. We're going to get some clutter and slow down pretty soon, I think. Okay, so selecting colors for a dark reddish brown belt actually starts with selecting a more purpley red. Sounds a bit crazy, but I promise it will give you a nicer effect than just going straight up for like a chocolate color. Whoop, let's reposition my earphones. I just find it gives a more realistic base for that kind of brown. So we're just going to gently fill that in up to the line. Same on the other side. I'm going to switch on to a slightly smaller brush for this, I think. We're going to include the buckle in this. We'll be rendering the buckle separately in a minute, but for now we're just going to include it. Making sure we have good opacity for all of this. Like so. And then the actual little tail of the belt as well coming down, we'll need to paint that too. Ooh, if Photoshop gets its act together. Okay, now little brush, even smaller than that, I think it's 6. As we go around these little bits of this line art. Again, this will just make our lives much easier later on when we go to kind of fill in the sword. Like so. Just filling in those little gaps there. Just gonna fill that. And then grab those edges. Okay, and that's the first part tail. The second part should be a bit easier. I'm just going to go around these edges with the small brush just to start us off. Okay, and then we can switch up to a bigger brush now to go down the rest of the belt. Oh, Sylvanix, I completely missed that a while back. Thank you so much for the donation. That was so very kind. You can tell that I'm concentrating on like several different things at the moment. I'm so sorry I missed that earlier. That is very, very kind of you indeed, and I'm very grateful. So thank you so much for that. That will be my first. That will go towards the round fund. So I will have to set up that Ko-fi goal, and yeah, I can add that in. So thank you so much. I need to get better light in here. It suddenly got really dark, and which means my ring light in front of me now looks super bright and is giving me a very yellow face. I can actually tweak this. Can I change that? No, it's too cold. That's better. That's a bit better. We'll go with that. Cool. Okay, so we have the base of the belt all painted in now. Let's start shading it. So making sure once again that the alpha channel is locked. We can go in with gradually kind of going up through the spectrum, getting these lighter colours. God, my voice is croaking like a frog. This is what you get from decorating all week. And yeah, just kind of gently brushing these in where the kind of glossy leather is going to be catching the light. which it will do around this middle bit here. Around the top edge, like the band. Bit more there. Do the same here. Thank you so much, CB Jess, for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely evening and weekend, because it is almost the weekend. It doesn't feel like it because all the days are blurred into one, but I hope you have a lovely one regardless. I'm looking forward to when I have some food in a bit. I'm probably gonna watch the last episode of WandaVision tonight. No spoilers, but looking forward to it. I actually didn't really watch the first few because I wasn't really into. I'm not a massive Marvel fan, but I ended up just kind of circumstantially watching some of it with my partner, who's kind of more into it than I am, and it seemed pretty good. I didn't expect WandaVision to be so interesting. Because I was one of the people that I rolled the Wanda and Vision relationship when they started hinting at it earlier on in the series. I was like, seriously? Another slightly creepy straight relationship? I'm really not interested. But they made it a lot more interesting than it had any right to be, so kudos to them, I suppose. Alright, that's some nice shading on this belt. Let's add some deep shadows while we are here. Just in these little areas where it's either casting shadow on itself or kind of having them cast on it from other parts of the environment. Helps add some contrast. Okay, nice. I'm quite pleased with that. Now we're going to go back up to the overlines layer to add some brighter highlights. After all, this is a glossy looking belt. Make sure I'm on all layers. And switching to a smaller brush, as always for highlights, we will put a highlight along the upper edge of the belt here. Oh, please excuse me, my nose is really itchy. Just a really thin one that's just doing a little bit of shine going down there. Can't see that. There's going to be one here. Just going down the middle of the buckle there. One here. Oh, thank you so much, Punishing Lance. I'm very pleased it helps. I'm not very good at describing things, so hopefully kind of seeing things helps a bit. I know that when I'm learning techniques or trying to learn how to paint something different, I find the easiest way to learn is both kind of watching someone do it and then emulating the technique. There we go. I almost I've started thinking of shading certain objects, almost like, oh, my hair's going crazy. Almost as if I was doing like edge highlighting for miniatures. Oh, I've made it worse. Don't know what my hair's doing. Anyway, yeah, I started to think about it a bit like edge highlighting when I'm doing miniature painting. As I find that kind of accurately describes how to get that contrast in objects sometimes. Anyway, let's now do the buckle. I think we're gonna go with silver, because silver is kind of this character's color when it comes to metallics. Oh, thank you so much, Punishing Lance. I'm very pleased it helped. Alright, let's start with a dark but rich brown. I changed my mind, by the way, I'm going for gold, not silver. I remembered that the sword is mostly gold, so... just filling in a base layer in this brown. Immediately then jumping up to the overlines layer where we are going to grab some lighter colors. I'm going to grab an orange. Switch down to a size 6 brush. And then the reason for doing this on overlines is I always find it makes metallics pop a bit more when you're not constrained by the line art. Like so. And then coming around that edge like that. Then we are going to jump up a slightly more golden colour. This is where it really kind of comes across as gold. then we can pick a slightly more washed out colour for sort of backlight, coming along the back side and the bottom, like so. And then finally going back to a really bright golden, kind of yellowy white for the highlights. And then we have a nice little metallic belt. So let's just save again before I lose everything. We don't want to do that. When you're painting minis, do I use metallics or paint non-metallic metals? When I am painting miniatures, I will use metallic paints because I am lazy and I kind of like the shine, you know? I like having my miniatures displayed, and when they catch the light, the metallic bits just get all nice and shiny. And yeah, and I have a lot of miniatures to paint. I still have my Deepkin army that is mostly unpainted, and it's more the sheer number of stuff I have to paint is what drives me to look for shortcuts. I must admit, I quite enjoy using the contrast paints that they brought out last year. They save a lot of time. Where is this holy symbol? This character is a cleric of... Oh, excuse me. They are a cleric of Serenrai. So this is their holy symbol at their waist, which is what we're going to do next. I'm actually going to just start grouping layers together. I'm just going to stick everything in a group there so I can see what I'm doing. Because otherwise I'm just going to get too many layers going on right now. Okay, so let's do the rope it's hanging from, which is going to be like a coppery red, reddy brown colour, I think. Nice and rich. Yeah. I want to contrast a bit with the coat without being too light. But also I don't want it to be the same colour as the belt. Okay, like so. And then grabbing a slightly darker colour for the shadows. Again, making sure, as always, that the alpha channel is locked. Very important. Adding just shadow to the bottom edge. Okay, and then popping up to overlines to add the highlight and kind of lift this away from the line art a little bit. Let's make the brush a bit smaller. It's a little big. Yeah, golds are weird to paint. Again, I ended up following loads of tutorials when I was kind of getting the hang of painting them. And there's just so many colours. And it's so rich. It's just really satisfying to paint in the end. Alright, I'm actually just going to add a little bit of extra light in here. Fuck it, it's just going to be, oops, I said a bad word. It's just going to be a shiny golden cord because clerics can afford it. There we go. And for the actual holy symbol itself, let's make a new layer for that. It's going to be a kind of bronzy golden, very similar to the colours we just used for this actually. Little idol. Only the best for this character, indeed. I mean, she deserves it. Just gonna go around the pommel of her sword. We don't particularly want to paint that yet. Those sides a bit, neaten it up. We can just fill and then touch up the edges. Yeah, I love ritual metallics too. Usually I enjoy painting golds more than I enjoy painting silvers, except for when it comes to painting armor. I prefer painting like a steel textured plate armor than gold, purely because there's a lot more reference for steel armor than there is for golden armor, because obviously one was used more than the other. Cool, I'm just going to go back into the coat for a quick second. because we need a shadow cast by the idle cord. Like so. Let's just close it back up. Oh, another thing is that hair needs trimming. Let's do that now. There we go, much better. And that bit there, no, that's not part of the arm, is it? That is. So let's also just darken that little bit down there. There we go. Fantasy colored armor is, again, like, it's still quite tough because the most reference exists for steel armor. It's not impossible by any means at all. These days you got, like, you can reference stuff like armors that are more designed for video games and stuff, but I always like using real stuff as reference where I can, purely because you'll never get more satisfying steel armor than if you've looked at actual real armor in real life. I'm lucky enough to have worn and owned some in the past, some steel plate, and there's nothing quite like having experience with a thing to help you paint it. I'm just going to gently shade in the idol here. Now it is metallic, so this is probably going to take a little bit of rendering to get looking nice. Whoops, why did it give me such a huge brush? I didn't want that. I did not want it. Okay, yeah, it's coming along. Feet are going to be a bit darker. Some gold armor. Well, we'll see about that. I actually am commissioning right now because there's a possibility that Empire might end up running towards the end of this year if we're very lucky. I saved up my kind of the little bit of income that I could, and I'm going to commission. I designed some armor a few months ago that people might have seen me upload on Twitter and stuff. It was like a cuirass with a brown leather cuirass with blue feather motifs on it for my Empire LARP character Kiriel. Because I want to get some proper armor for LARP, so I'm going to try and get that commissioned and get that made. Thankfully, because I am able to provide quite a detailed sketch, it does take the price down for me, which I was very grateful for. But yeah, very excited to hopefully have that made in the next few months. See how that looks zooming out? Yeah, that's coming on quite nicely. Yeah. Yeah, chainmail is, chainmail is very expensive for the reason of that it does take a lot of time to make properly. A lot of chainmail that you see in costumes and stuff isn't real chainmail. And I don't really like wearing chainmail. Proper chainmail is greasy, it's very heavy, and it's very hot. So, and also in the Empire game system, mages can't wear heavy armor. It's like a balancing thing. So mages wear mage armor, which can basically look like anything as long as it A, looks like it kind of armors you, and B, doesn't just look like normal steel armor to differentiate it. So that's why I'm going to have this leather kind of decorative breastplate. Yeah, it's coming across quite nicely. Ooh, tarnished gold is nice. I really like that effect. I'm going to do some hair coming down here. And let's go to all layers because I ain't messing around. Just getting in some nice dark shadows because the thing about golden metals is when they create shadows, the shadows be dark. Like so. Alright, yeah, really happy with how this is looking. Now let's add some shine. Okay, there you go, and then I'm gonna add some for slightly yellowy color as well. It sometimes helps to differentiate your colors a bit, and then wait for Photoshop to catch up with you. Makes it look more like a brass than a gold. There we go. And then finally, I want to add a tiny bit of kind of verdigris on here, which I kind of want to keep fairly subtle. I said subtle. Just that slight tarnishing you get when you've got kind of coppery, brassy materials. It can give them quite a lot of depth, and I love it. It's one of my favorite effects, personally. Whoops, that was a bit too strong. Photoshop lagged out on me again. But just in a couple of places. Sometimes it can appear where you normally get heavy shadows. Just kind of where I wanted to put some. But just a slight hint of the verdigris going on there. And there we have the holy symbol there. Oh, Aimless Wanderings, thank you so much. It's very, very kind. And now, I think the very last thing I might do while I'm here, she has a few tattoos on her face. And I might just pop in one of them. The other ones are a little bit complex. Oh, I could do the hand ones. Yeah. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm just going to pop it above the skin. I'm going to call it tattoos. Ooh, that's cool. I love piratey themes with character designs. It makes me so happy. Okay, so kind of like dark brown tattoos. So we'll try the chin one, and then I'll look at doing some of the others. We're going to use a very small brush for this, and they've got a tattoo on the chin, which is a bit like an arrow. Thankfully, I've been provided some really nice reference for this, which helps a lot. There are some others on her cheeks as well, but I will get around to those. They're a bit more complicated, so just have a look at the hand. This one will have visible tattoos on it. So we've got this kind of circle design. These marks on it. One spine kind of goes towards the hand, one goes towards the wrist. Ooh, it's got 5 marks. That's unusual. So yeah, then we've got 2 bits coming out like this. two coming out over the knuckles. And lastly, two little spikes coming out like that. Quite a spiky tattoo. And then there's like a smaller one next to it. A line passing through. Like little fork designs on the outside. And then there are some kind of tattoos going up the fingers as well. So on these fingers we've got little pluses just past the knuckle. And then on the middle finger there is a little shape like that. I can't remember what that punctuation mark is called. Like so. And then we've got these little marks that I can barely see on that side, but on the thumb side, there's another one of these. And a little plus underneath it. These are very specific designs. And then we've got these marks that come back over the knuckle of the thumb and continue up the hand, kind of just past the second one to the wrist. And the other hand isn't going to have the marks be terribly visible because it's kind of facing away from us. So with that, I think that's probably, it is a musical symbol. That's what it is. It's been ages since I've really looked at sheet music, but that's exactly what it is. Thank you for helping me clear that up. Anyway, what I was going to say is, I think this is where we will leave it for today. We've been going about an hour and a half. I'm very hungry, so I need to go make some dinner. But thank you so much to everyone who joined me today. It's been wonderful to get back to streaming and hanging out with all you wonderful people. It's been too long. Hopefully, by the next time I see you, which will be Wednesday next week at 5 p.m. GMT, fingers crossed, hopefully I will have been able to fix a little bit more of our damaged wall situation. Yeah, should be. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting back into the flow of streaming. Sorry, Aurora Zero, for ending the stream just as you joined. Hopefully you can catch us next time. But until then, let's drop some links in chat. First of all, Twitter. If you want to keep track of when I'm streaming again, as well as when commissions open and when I post art, Twitter is usually the best place to do so. So check that out. I also have Instagram, where I share my art, I share my costuming and my miniature painting. A little heads up, I get a lot of messages on Instagram, and I just want to reiterate, if you want to talk to me about commissions and all that kind of stuff, don't try and reach me from Instagram. Patreon or Twitter are the best ways to communicate, or just using my email, which I think is in my Twitter pinned tweet. I don't look at Instagram messages for work stuff, purely because they're really hard to organize, and I already have enough platforms to try and wade through messages, so please bear that in mind. Next up, I have a YouTube channel, which is very exciting. If you missed the start of the stream and you want to see kind of the whole thing, I'll be uploading VODs. Probably today's one will be up later this evening. I also have a little series of Destiny 2 audiobook style lore read-throughs on there, so if you like cosmic horror short fiction, do check that out, because I had a lot of fun making them, and I hope to make some more soon. What's next? ArtStation! If you purely would like to see my portfolio, and my best pieces, some older pieces, different styles, my ArtStation is the place to go. Not much more to say about that. Next up, music. If you like the music I use in my streams, it's by an artist named Kai Engel, who does really fantastic ambient royalty-free music. You can find it on the Free Music Archive, as well as Spotify, and it's great for, a variety of purposes. Any other streamers out there know how hard it is to find really nice royalty-free music, so that's that. Lastly, but most certainly not leastly, if you wish to support my work and kind of go towards helping make this my full-time career, Patreon is a wonderful way to support the work I do. There are various rewards at different tiers. To everyone who has subscribed at the Kraken tier or above, excuse me, February sketches will be coming out this weekend. due to the house move and February being a shorter month, I haven't quite finished them all yet, but they will be coming out very soon. And so, as I start to choke horribly, I will bid you all adieu. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you stay safe, stay warm, and I will see you all again next week on Wednesday at 5 p.m. GMT. And yeah, just until then, look after yourselves. I'll be back very soon, and thank you so much everyone for joining me today. Thank you so much for the donations and the subs. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back soon. Bye!